Welcome to Last Match Standing, the podcast where we review, relive, and rank the greatest wrestling matches of all time. As always, I'm Spenser.
I'm the king of strong style.
And I'm a soccer mom.
And today we are coming to you from January 4th, 2016, from the Tokyodome in Tokyo, Japan. AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura, Wrestle Kingdom 10 for the IWGP Intercontinental Championship.
And you best believe this is Ace versus Ace.
Man, Wrestle Kingdom 10 was so fantastic. I mean, we already have a match from Wrestle Kingdom 10
Main event
on this list, and it's just, it only gets better from here.
Here we are, episode number 3 of season 5 already, and already we've had 2 incredible matches. We started with the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, and Kurt Angle from WrestleMania 21 in our season opener. Then we did the WWF title reign that never happened, Inoki versus Backlund in episode 2, and this feels like another really great gem to add to the crown here in season 5.
Man,
we really just want to stay in Japan.
if you were to poll a large group of wrestling fans, hey, take the Last Match Standing listener base, for example.
That's you.
And you ask them, what are their top 5 favorite wrestlers of all time, and just how about objectively? Like, who do you think objectively are the top 5 greatest to ever do it in the ring internationally?
Well, one of them's in this match.
AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura are going to be on 90% of those lists.
Absolutely.
I think so.
They're
Absolutely.
just phenomenal competitors, and so at Wrestle Kingdom 10, we see the culmination of a perfectly crafted story that put these 2 megastars in a position to make history.
Well,
And by
Intercontinental
God, they
title.
delivered. The Intercontinental Championship, that's exactly right.
And it's a belt that it's hard to think of anyone else. I think if I were to walk up to someone, like, just like you said, like wrestling fans, and said, who's the first person you think of when you think of the IWGP Intercontinental title?
MVP.
Well,
But that's only because he was
Well,
the
if
first
he was
the
one.
first one.
Only
Yeah,
if you're
reason
thinking
why.
chronologically.
right.
That's the only
but
reason.
The person I associate with the IWGP Intercontinental title is Shinsuke Nakamura. Absolutely.
I think he has, to date, he has the most reigns.
Yeah, well, it's Shinsuke and Naito.
Naito?
In my opinion, my mind actually might go to Tetsuya Naito first, but that's only because of the unification and everything.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Well, they say in this match that Shinsuke's a 5-time champion, and I'm like, when was this belt established? Because MVP, I think, is like 2012.
Yeah.
It was.
So, like, the belt at this point only been around for 4 years. So it was like you didn't have a lot of reigns with it.
But I think Nakamura is the guy that elevated the
He
belt and made it valuable. I
Quote,
think that's important.
To quote
note.
AJ Styles in this build, you made that belt pretty cool, and I'm taking it.
Yeah.
Right.
Really, really good stuff.
A couple of things before we get into Nakamura and Styles. The first of which is we just want to say thank you to you guys out there for voting in our first Season 5 poll. We had some really, really great match suggestions for you guys that you guys have given to us, and we put them all in a poll, and Styles Nakamura won.
By a lot.
By a lot on both Twitter and Patreon. It was one of our highest voted polls. So far through, episode 83 now. And so thank you so much for your input, for your feedback with that. We really, really appreciate you. If you weren't able to participate in this poll, you can do that on Twitter. At Last Match Cast, we post all our polls there. And then if you want an extra vote, you can get that for just $1 on our Patreon, because our Patreon subscribers get an extra vote in all of our polls as well. Also, we had a wonderful experience. Pro Wrestling 225 is a promotion here in Baton Rouge that Landon and I are grateful and lucky to do commentary for. You may have seen the clothesline that Landon suffered in the ring just last weekend. But the really, really cool part about what's happening in Pro Wrestling 225 for Last Match Standing is that Paul now is also in the fold. Paul shot a lot of the footage.
Yes, I was a ringside camera.
Yeah, at our last event. And so the reason I bring it up is Born to Rise was the Pro Wrestling 225 event just a week ago from time of recording, and we met. We have our Last Match Standing booth up, and we met this father and son at Pro Wrestling 225 Born to Rise, and Brian, buddy, thank you so much for your match suggestion and for meeting us at Pro Wrestling 225's Born to Rise. It was a pleasure. I know you got to speak with Jen and with Dustin, and thank you for your support, you and your dad. Thanks so much for listening to the show. Hope you continue to come to the Pro Wrestling 225 events, and thank you so much for joining us here on Last Match Standing.
Man, it's just that's the best part about this show is meeting the listeners and meeting people who love professional wrestling just as much as we do. That's the whole point. It's why we do this.
We love to be humbled.
And how cool is that it was a father-son duo?
That's
right?
the best.
Like they listened to
that
it
is
together.
The absolute best.
And
like my dad doesn't watch wrestling, so to see that, like, oh man, that's the dream.
It's really neat. And Brian, listen, here's the deal. Father's Day is just around the corner.
I'm so happy you mentioned this.
It is. It's just around the corner, and I know for me, it's tough trying to figure out what the best thing is to get for my dad on Father's Day.
I mean, I wish this before we went on the air. Like, how many times are you going to buy your dad a power drill for he's like, son, I just need a lawnmower?
That's exactly right. And there is no lawnmower out there better than the Manscaped Lawnmower number 4. Guys, I'm not kidding. This thing is life-changing.
Yeah, if you're looking for an incredible gift for your father on Father's Day, you can get the Lawnmower 4.0. It's also look at that light. It's also part of the Performance Package. One of the very best things that Manscaped has to offer. It includes the Boxers 2.0, which I'm wearing right now. I'm not going to show you, but they're on. They're comfortable. Listen, the Lawnmower 4.0, we all just, I think.
We each own one.
We each own one, and we've all really recommended it while we've been using it.
It's just really, really easy to use. No scuffs whatsoever. It's absolutely incredible. And if you get the full package for Father's Day and use the code last match at manscaped.com, you'll get 20% off your order and free shipping anywhere in the world.
Worldwide.
So, if you do that for Father's Day, your father and his dad bod will thank you for sure. We have another first.
We do?
In Last Match Standing history today. And Landon, I don't know if you're aware of this. Paul, you are, whether you remember or not. on our last episode, which if you recall was Inoki and Backlund, okay? For the first time ever, we are going to have our very own self-correction corner. That's right. On YouTube, if you're watching this, you can post comments below. Let us know what you're thinking of the show as you're watching along. But
I should have kept my mouth shut.
But
so what you're saying is, you fucked up. You fucked up.
Paul.
I corrected it.
Right. Paul posted a comment on our YouTube video that says, I said Fujinami won the WCW title in 92. It was 1990. I'm correcting myself, which might be a first for the show.
So what happened is, he won it from Flair in like 92. And I'm like, dude, Flair was the WWF champion in 92. He didn't even go back.
Let it go, yeah.
He didn't go back to WCW until, January 93? And then he didn't wrestle until... He doesn't wrestle again until, I think, Bash at the Beach.
Oh, my God.
So, 90-day no-compete clause.
So I know that we do the corrections corner every episode.
Time.
Doesn't matter what, but maybe for the first time, a self-correction corner.
And
congratulations,
it's
Paul.
funny.
That's a new level.
I actually looked this up because we may have recently recorded a WrestleMania episode. So
speaking of Patreon.
Yeah.
Last Mania standing.
And hey, actually, sorry to interrupt, there is an important bit of news about our Patreon. We now have merch.
Hey!
Last Match Standing merch available on our Patreon to our $5, $10, and $20 tiers. And you can get more information about what merch is available on our Patreon. That's patreon.com/lastmatchstanding. But just a bit of a spoiler, there are some awesome stickers that were just designed by my good friend Jace Duplessis. Thanks so much, Jace. And there are some great T-shirts that were designed by Jason, good friend Jason Bro, who's an incredible graphic designer. And just some really, really nice posters, little print, last match prints. So go check it out, see what's there. But, man, it's just a huge thank you to you, everyone who's been listening to us and supporting us for so long. This is we're only able to do this because of you guys, so thank you.
Yeah, you guys have been down since day one-ish, and we appreciate it.
Appreciate it. He went there.
I went there. But I was saying, I was doing research for that WrestleMania episode, and I said, oh, that's right. Sting was in Starrcade 95, which was New Japan versus WCW. And I'm like, that is not where Tatsumi Fujinami won the title. And I looked it up. They had a show in 1990 in Japan where Tatsumi Fujinami beat Ric Flair for the WCW title, but he clotheslined Flair over the top rope, which was illegal.
Yes, that's a DQ.
But he still won the belt. He did relinquish the title later on, and they have a tournament, which I believe Vader wins. And then Ron Simmons beats Vader for the WCW World title.
Yeah, that's right.
Man. Worth telling. Glad you finished that story. Thank you, Paul.
Yeah, and that match might be worth covering down the road.
Yeah,
that is
no
a
kidding.
fun
Simmons and
match.
Vader?
Ron
Oh,
Simmons
it's
and Vader
fucking
is a
awesome.
great match.
That's a good
So Ron was recently asked who was one of his favorite guys to work with. Oh, Vader. Hands down Vader. And
Yeah.
Isn't he stiff? He said, he wasn't stiff with me.
Nice.
And he said that Vader was just nice, cordial, and was easy to work with. And I'm like, really? Because I hear the opposite. I'm like, oh, no, it's with the opposite because he hit me too hard.
Well, guess what?
don't get me wrong.
It's a contact sport.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I mean, as a guy that I didn't like getting hit too hard, but if I'm wrestling fucking Vader,
He's
going to lay it in.
Comes with the territory.
So you know what you do?
Yeah.
You lay it in back.
Yeah. Give it back.
I'm not saying potato and receipt, but like if he's throwing those forearms, you throw him back because he's going to do one of two things. He's going to lay the fuck off, or he's going to go in even harder. And yeah, it's going to suck. It's going to hurt. But you know who's going to really enjoy it? The audience.
Love that. Love that. And there are a few moments in this match we're about to cover that sort of look like that may have been going on. It's good stuff.
I guarantee you that was going on.
Landon, how did we get here?
We got here by the grace of God. The wrestling gods opened up the clouds. God damn it.
JBL, open the clouds.
Friend of the podcast, JBL?
Yeah, you know what? We have an interview with JBL that has not made an appearance yet that I really need to edit. So just kind of stay tuned for that because that's definitely coming up.
How dare you not let the longest
I know, yeah, it's my
world
fault.
title winner in
It's my fault.
SmackDown history grace our show? The guy gave me a clothesline from hell. I had to get 3 vertebrae surgically repaired.
It's
10 out of 10. Nice guy.
amazing. Paul can't even go to the airport anymore. He sets off all the alarms with metal in his back.
That and the pressure on the neck, it can't fly.
So we're talking about guys who changed the industry, wrestling gods, if you will. AJ Styles is the guy who made independent wrestling cool.
He really did.
I mean, yeah, there were guys who maybe came along, maybe a little bit before, a little bit after, and who changed indie wrestling in other ways. But AJ Styles changed what it meant to be a professional wrestler, and sort of broke down those centuries old barriers.
Where you had to be at I know there's more than 2 companies right now, but in 2014 there were 2, and he was like, "Fuck you both, I'm going to the Indies."
And so some of these barriers that kept men like Jushin Thunder Liger out of the IWGP Heavyweight Championship picture. Absolutely gone now. So when we last left AJ Styles, he was tearing it up with TNA staples Christopher Daniels and Samoa Joe. And that was a fun match. By the way, if you didn't listen to that episode, check that out.
Episode 15.
Wow, was it 15? Was that way back?
It was that long ago.
Season
Oh,
1.
man.
Season 1, the unbreakable triple threat.
So good.
Wow.
And I didn't fight for that match at all.
No, you didn't at all. Yeah, there's not a reason it was actually 15.
No, it was not number 15. I forget where it is.
So AJ Styles won every major championship TNA had to offer multiple times. And he sort of just symbolically established the X Division into what it is, and it's essentially the perfect representation of what AJ Styles is all about.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And it doesn't matter what size you are. Everyone is capable. Anyone can beat anyone at any size on any given day. That's what pro wrestling should be.
The X Division is not about weight limits. It's about no limits.
And that's sort of what AJ Styles pushed as what professional wrestling could be everywhere.
Yeah, he was
in any promotion.
AJ is not a small guy by any stretch of the imagination. He's, 6 foot, 240. He's not a small guy, but he's not a big guy either.
And he kept this up for nearly a decade in TNA, just sort of riding through some of the best times that TNA brought us, some of the worst.
And then the Hogan times.
And until finally signing a deal with New Japan Pro Wrestling in 2014. And AJ came out swinging because at NJPW Invasion Attack, appropriately named, he revealed himself as the newest member of the Bullet Club and set his sights on the IWGP Heavyweight Champion, Kazuchika Okada.
Never heard of him.
Who'd he ever beat?
At this time, Styles was sort of only working the...
That's my favorite. That's why I can't
Who'd he
say
ever
every time.
beat?
Who'd he ever beat?
Salty JR.
At this time, Styles was sort of only working the big shows in Japan because he still had a foot in the States in Ring of Honor.
Yep.
And so, whereas Carl Anderson was sort of positioned as the top guy in Bullet Club over in Japan, AJ Styles was seen as the top guy in Bullet Club in America.
Yeah. We already lost Prince Devitt at this point, so
exactly, yeah. So the previous leader was Prince Devitt. So this allowed for AJ to sort of slide into that leadership role gradually. And despite this, AJ was granted a match against Okada at Wrestling Dontaku. And in his very first match under contract with New Japan Pro Wrestling, he wins the IWGP Heavyweight Championship.
I remember this. This was a bit. We stayed up until 3 a.m. to watch that show.
And does anybody know who? So AJ is actually the second person to do this. Anybody remember who the first person was?
The first? No, I don't.
First person, first match, winning the IWGP Heavyweight Championship.
No, I know who it is.
You do?
Yeah.
Did you just read my notes? Is that
No.
why? Because you're looking at him right now. I could see you.
Oh, I was correct. Good.
Okay. It was Pork.
Yeah. No, I'm like, I don't remember who it is. Like, Kurt, no. Who did Kurt beat? Kurt beat Brock Lesnar.
Kurt beat Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar also winning the IWGP Heavyweight Championship at his New Japan debut.
Yeah. Do you know why Kurt was given the belt? Brock no-showed an event. So they're like, all right, you lose the belt. Kurt wins a tournament. And then Antonio Inoki briefly left New Japan and started, I think it was IGF. And then made Brock their title holder. I'm not making Brock, but now Kurt's the IWGP title. And then a few months later, he came back and they unified the belts, but Kurt was still a champion.
So while all this is going on with AJ Styles winning the heavyweight championship, over on the sidelines watching all this take place is the IWGP Intercontinental Champion, Shinsuke Nakamura. By this point in Nakamura's career, this guy is one of the longest tenured guys in the New Japan roster. Look, yeah, Paul's going to give us a little Shinsuke impression here.
Okay, I need lights. I need curtain behind him.
I really need ropes. Is what I need. I lean back. Oh god, this chair doesn't lean. So I do like.
And I mean, 3 reigns with the IWGP Heavyweight Championship at this point for Nak. He's essentially established the Intercontinental Championship there as on par with the world title.
I mean, it basically was at this point in time.
And hey, if you don't believe me, in 2014, the Intercontinental Championship, that is the IWGP Intercontinental Championship, was the main event of Wrestle Kingdom 8.
Yep.
That match, Shinsuke Nakamura versus Hiroshi Tanahashi. Total shit. Yeah, nobody watched it.
You mentioned Nakamura and then Tanahashi in the same sentence, and I'm like, do you guys remember? There's a really old Prince Devitt thing where he's like, Nakamura, Tanahashi, Ibushi, Captain fucking New Japan, because he like forgot who he was supposed to be calling out. He's just like, Tanahashi.
Man, that time period in New Japan must be the
really
golden
good shit.
years. I mean, just good.
Well, this
stuff.
is whenever we didn't get like Demon, like, Finn Balor, Prince Devitt. We didn't get that guy. We got like, I'm going to be Venom tonight. And the next night he's going to be like Bane. And we got like Joker Devitt. Like, he did all kinds of cool shit.
So recognizing
Prince Devitt is the best though.
Recognizing Nakamura, essentially having no more challengers for the Intercontinental Championship, then essentially he's serving in his 5th title reign at that point. AJ Styles who had recently lost the heavyweight championship, lays out the challenge.
So sorry.
For the first time ever, AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura. And
Sweet.
This was actually kind of insane because it's not like these two guys have never crossed paths. When Nakamura was on excursion, he was on excursion in TNA.
Yep.
That's Styles' territory. And actually he went to CMLL, which Styles also was there a good bit. And then Styles, sort of on the same hand, did travel over to Japan and wrestled in New Japan a few times earlier in his career, but they just never happened to cross paths. So here we go. Wrestle Kingdom 10, first time ever. And the only sort of exception, I believe, to the fact that they were never in the ring together was the 2015 World Tag League when Styles and Yujiro Takahashi actually defeated Nakamura and Ishii. But Styles...
I'm sorry, who?
That would be Tomohiro Ishii.
Oh, I wonder who that is. We've never covered him on this show before.
Oh, you might be able to see him if you scroll back a little bit.
Shibata
in
Ishii.
The annals of last match standing.
Sorry, I had an elbow in my throat there. I had to get it out.
But the important thing to note here is in that World Tag League match, AJ Styles would actually get hurt. I'm not sure exactly at what point in the World Tag League it was. I'm not sure if it was this match, but he does suffer a back injury,
back, yeah.
And that does play into what we see at Wrestle Kingdom. What's maybe the most interesting piece of this whole thing, before we get into the match itself, is 18 months from Wrestle Kingdom 10. Styles and Nakamura would have a rematch at WrestleMania.
Yep.
But on this night in Wrestle Kingdom, January 4th, 2016,
It's a better match.
both men had already signed WWE contracts.
Yep. Because we said it before. AJ, 3 weeks later, he's in the Royal Rumble. Nakamura, 3 months later, he's at TakeOver Dallas.
Yes. But the thing, though, what makes this so interesting is they both knew that. They already signed their contracts. Here they are, essentially co-main eventing Wrestle Kingdom. They haven't told New Japan officials yet. Neither of them told New Japan officials before that match happened.
That is genius.
So essentially, the result is that they both know that this very likely could be their last opportunity to have a match of this caliber on this stage. Because, look, I was there. I love the Superdome. It's home. It's not the Tokyodome.
No. And the Tokyodome have to inflate their attendance.
It's a big fight feel Wrestle Kingdom 10.
The biggest, fightest, feelest.
Well, it's just there's so much to say here, and what I will say is just to give you, the environment of the match. On commentary, we have Yoshitatsu, Kevin Kelly, and Matt Stryker.
K squared.
He is your teacher.
So we have Kevin Kelly,
K squared.
the GOAT, and 2 ECW originals.
Yep.
That's true. I mean, it's just from the new breed.
K squared.
And the official. Who's the official in this match, Paul?
It's Red Shoes fucking oh no.
It is Red Shoes.
We can't escape him.
I love Red Shoes.
All our fucking New Japan matches.
So even if we didn't know anything about AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura except their accolades, right? We'd never seen them in the ring before. We don't know the story, whatever. Here's the truth of it. We've got a 5-time Intercontinental champion in Nakamura. He is also, at this point, a 3-time IWGP heavyweight champion, the youngest of all time, winning that belt at Battle Final 2003.
Oh, God, was that long ago?
2003.
I forget when he walked out, said 14 years in the business, and I'm like,
yeah,
this is 6 years ago.
He was 12 years in New Japan at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then, of course, AJ at that point had won the heavyweight title twice.
Yeah.
So you've got these guys that have a combined 5 heavyweight championship reigns between the two of them, and they're battling over the Intercontinental title. And what's so interesting to me is that Yoshitatsu, who doesn't say much throughout this match, the one thing he does say is that he doesn't understand. He can't understand why Styles is challenging for the Intercontinental title because he should be in the heavyweight title picture. Like, what he's taking a step down is the way Yoshi was explaining it.
Yeah.
Which I thought was fascinating.
Which I imagine a lot of older school opinions might be like, shouldn't you want to go for the world title? Kevin Kelly makes it very clear. Well, as of right now, many of us believe that the Intercontinental title is on par with the world title.
And Shinsuke Nakamura was bending over backwards to make that the case.
It just was so interesting to me for someone on commentary to say out loud, this belt isn't as good as the other one. Why are they fighting for it?
It didn't make much sense.
It was interesting to me.
Well, because he's the wrestler, and the other two guys are... Oh, he's the only wrestler at the table. Matt Striker fucking wrestled. But the thing is, like, he's the wrestler. They're the play-by-play color guys, and he's like the I'm the wrestler who's suffering from a neck injury because of AJ Styles, which I really thought they would play up. They didn't, probably because it was a really bad injury.
Yeah, and during their entrances, which are great, by the way, just worth watching. They're not.
The first voice dramatic. You hear is Yoshitatsu.
Yeah. They're Wrestle Kingdom entrances.
Yeah.
But last year, the previous year, we saw Shinsuke come out as literally the fucking, like, what was it, the Mad King from the anime.
Oh, was that?
Yeah, where he had the giant crown and the cape. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh, the fuck. And I said the Mad King. That's what the first popped in my head. But someone's going to remind me on Twitter what it
actually was.
We asked, what's this from? And somebody said, this is what it is. And they showed us like a screenshot of that character, and then next to him, purple crown. Because I said Statue of Liberty crown. I said, no, that's this crown from this anime. You're uncultured swine. I'm like, yes, I am.
Okay. They're telling the story during their entrances about, man, they respect each other. And Yoshitatsu says, so what? So what? They respect each other. What is that? Nothing. That doesn't mean anything.
That doesn't mean anything. Yeah.
Doesn't mean anything to me. And they're AJ said in the build-up to this match, how do you beat a guy with no flaws? We'll touch on that in just a little bit. But
the flaws
overall, is sort of my last staging of this match. At this point, Shinsuke Nakamura 9-4 in his Wrestle Kingdom history.
That's pretty fucking
AJ
good.
Styles 1-0.
So
the streak.
It's Wrestle Kingdom 10.
Mm-hmm.
How does Shinsuke Nakamura get to a 9-4 record?
Your guess is as good as mine.
So there had to have been maybe a tournament or something that happened.
I don't know.
Because I legitimately don't know.
And to be fair, that's what they said on commentary. I'm taking their word for it. So
wait, does Matt Striker say it?
The thing is, though, there were January 4th shows before before they were called Wrestle Kingdom. So maybe he's 9-4 on January 4th.
Maybe so.
True. Yep. That's their big. That's their.
It's always been their big show.
Yeah, they're super show
before Wrestle Kingdom. Yeah.
They're super card.
That's it.
This match is 24 minutes.
Perfect length.
I mean, we've talked about on our Seasons by the Numbers, that really sits right there, almost
sweet spot.
Exactly.
I personally wouldn't mind them have another 5, but good match.
I think I agree with that.
Yeah.
I think the match is paced really well to where I could have had more.
Yeah.
Which, hey, I'd rather them leave me with
that's what you want,
wanting
though.
More. Sure.
That's what you want out of a good wrestling match.
That overstaying their welcome, for sure.
Bell rings, and the crowd erupts, which is such a welcome thing right now. With if you're listening to New Japan right now, they're in the middle of the best of the Super Juniors, and they can't do it. The COVID restrictions haven't been lifted yet, so they can't actually speak. But so it was really, really nice to hear.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Sets the atmosphere for what's to come.
It definitely does. It definitely does. AJ sort of coming off that back injury, which, by the way, was 100% healed thanks to DDP Yoga.
My knees are 100% healed thanks to DDP Yoga.
Every wrestler has used DDP Yoga. It's a thing.
It's a thing.
And it works.
Look what it did for Stone Cold.
It works.
And you can get DDP Bioto for 20% off.
DDP Bioto? What is that?
I haven't
heard of that one.
The DDPY app now at 20% off. I would use that code if it worked.
Code last match at DDP.
We should email them like, hey,
not really.
Can we partner with your show?
That's not true. But everyone does it. You're absolutely right.
But that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing.
This match gets underway.
Oh, yes.
And
are we covering a match right now? I forgot.
And it's a lot of good stuff to start as they sort of try to, figure out who's going to be the first one to gain an advantage.
Oh, yeah. This match is going to be who's going to blink first. Shinsuke might be the better technical wrestler, but AJ is more unpredictable with that high-flying game, and he's got a very strong submission style as well.
Yes, and there's a good back and forth in the beginning, with a headlock from
the feeling
Nakamura,
out.
head scissors from AJ. They're filling each other out. I think this match starts, really, when we get one of the most iconic moments in the last 20 years in professional wrestling, in my mind, with AJ Styles and Nakamura.
Why don't you two recreate it right now?
I think that's y'all's too, Allie.
We're not framed
I'm going out of frame for this. Y'all got this.
Yeah, bring it on.
Okay, it goes a little something like this. Don't forget the belly.
So
And
for,
then-
for all of you listening,
And for everybody who forgets, he does spit it out.
for everyone listening, they have an excellent moment here in the middle of the ring that is just absolutely unforgettable. AJ winds up the bullet in the chamber and shoots it across the ring. It's the Bullet Club thing. You got to do it.
What they do.
And Nakamura
Catches the bullet,
and eats it.
rubs his belly, and then he spits it out.
It's just good stuff.
Twitter was nothing but gifts of this for 3 days after the show.
Insane.
You're so right.
It was good
all
stuff.
it was.
And it's just it goes to show the performance factor that Shinsuke Nakamura brings to the table. And not to take anything away from AJ Styles, he absolutely does here too. But I just think unexpected and a welcome note. And I do agree that the match really kicks off after this.
Oh, absolutely.
The pace quickens. AJ Styles is trying to land that first big blow, and he gets it in the form of a drop kick to Nakamura. And what I really, if you're listening, when he's able to leapfrog over Nakamura, you hear Styles go, "Got you," before he hits the drop kick.
I love that.
Yeah, you can hear him yell it out to Nakamura right before. He's like, "Okay, this is the situation I got you in,
Love
and
it.
you're absolutely right. I set you up. Here comes the drop kick."
Well, those long legs and the sporadic movements of Shinsuke Nakamura just make him so unorthodox, and it confuses his opponents every single time, and
Well,
we see a lot of that here.
He does have 2.5 inches on AJ vertically, but his arms and legs are very long.
They're just long.
I always forget that until I see him compete, and he's like, his arms are like as long as if he was almost pushing 7 feet.
I love the moment where AJ is sort of perched on the second rope, and he gets pulled off right onto his injured back.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so immediately just starts writhing in pain. And so Shinsuke
But
does
Landon,
the sportsman-like move and steps away from AJ, allowing him time to recover because he understands there was an injury there.
But Landon, what rope was he pulled off of?
He was pulled off of Brett's rope.
The deadliest rope.
I knew that was going to happen.
You're welcome.
So AJ hurt. Shinsuke gives him a second, and we talked about not Shinsuke being the perfect wrestler, having no flaws, but Matt Stryker has an excellent point on commentary.
So, Styles lands on his back, playing possum. Nakamura gives him the space, and as soon as that space is created, Styles pops up, runs across the ring, and gets the upper hand on Nakamura. And you hear Matt Stryker say, the flaw may have been humanity for Shinsuke Nakamura. You two seem to really like that.
I loved it.
I love that.
I don't.
I ate it all up.
I don't. And
Nothing.
I'll tell you,
You did
why.
not like
and I'll
it.
tell you why. And this is I think Matt Stryker is very talented. I think he comes off as cheesy.
He is cheesy.
And this is one of those moments.
Yeah.
Nakamura, he doesn't have a weakness in the ring, but his humanity. Fuck,
I don't
mean,
know.
No,
I liked it. It's
no,
pro wrestling.
It's fucking.
It's-
I can't.
Yeah.
It's just.
You know what's not fucking stupid? The Muda lock done
I don't know
by
if I'm
AJ
over talking about
Styles.
this Matt Stryker thing. Hold on now. I made a note, okay? Because I want to talk about it.
Okay.
I just want to talk
calm
about
down.
it.
Yeah,
Calm
you guys humor me every episode.
Yeah,
It's
I
his
just want to
turn.
talk about it, and let me know what you think. My thing with Matt Stryker is he's an intelligent guy. You know, he calls the action in the ring well. He's got a great vocabulary. All those things are well and good. I'm not saying this is horrible. I think just because he uses an abstract phrase doesn't mean it's cool, or good. The thing is AJ Styles outsmarted him. I don't know that necessarily.
AJ Styles recognized that there were going to be few opportunities that Shinsuke was going to create for him, so he created one on his own.
It's like I said at the top of the match.
And he used what he knew that Shinsuke does have, that sportsmanship that he brings to the ring, so he used that against Shinsuke Nakamura in this match.
It's like I said, who's going to blink first?
Exactly.
But I'm not sure that that's a characteristic that's specific to Nakamura very much.
No.
As the referee is pushing him away.
Yeah. Oh, he's hurt. He's hurt.
He doesn't come in.
AJ knew there was going to be a break.
It was a heel move. It was a smart thing from Styles. I think the credit goes to Styles, and it's not. I think it's more of a strength of Styles, not a weakness of Nakamura.
I agree.
Is the point I'm getting to. I understand the story they're spinning, and I understand what they're trying to say. I didn't buy it. Y'all feel differently. I didn't.
I actually would have preferred if all the shine of respect right there, and then have your Styles go. That means nothing.
But what I did love that what comes out of this moment is that after this, Shinsuke Nakamura is laser focused on the back in the midsection of AJ Styles. He says, "Okay, we're gonna play that game.
All
Got
right,
you.
I'm gonna break your fucking back.
Got you."
But not before being trapped in the Muda lock.
The Muda lock was good.
How
Dreaded
often do we see a Muda lock on this show?
Not enough.
Not much.
I want to say this is only the third or fourth time we've seen it.
The knee strikes even to the downed AJ Styles
To the side of the
are
head.
just rough.
Well, and that, I mean, the King of Strong Style. We talk about that with Nakamura. It's his.
He has an MMA
trademark.
training. He does. I think people forget that.
But that backbreaker that you mentioned that Nakamura hits on Styles is very much the.
Oh.
Hey, listen, your back wasn't hurting, apparently. Guess what? It is now, man.
Yep.
And it is. It's very much almost a Uranagi over the knee, and it is stiff.
Well, and he
The Irish
later
curse.
he lays AJ up across the top rope, and his legs are so tall it doesn't take much for him to get his knee up there where AJ's back is. I mean, that looked brutal.
And then after that he drives him, and then he drives him out of the ring, and then back first into the barricade. Not while I was bringing it up. It's important because we're focusing on that back.
Right.
And then he just starts throwing his knees into that lower back. Like AJ's draped over their apron, knee shots to the back. Like you said, if your back wasn't hurt before, it's going to fucking hurt
And
now.
so it gives AJ sort of something to focus on, something to try and avoid. And so when Shinsuke goes for the suplex, AJ finds an escape because suplex, not a great move for your back.
Nope.
And he reverses it into a snap suplex into the corner.
Oh, I love that.
So good.
Yeah, well, you got to remember, AJ was going for the suplex first. Nakamura kept dropping his hips, putting more strain on the back to get him up.
It should be noted that in that sequence that ends up leading into that snap suplex, Nakamura goes for his first attempt at the Bomaye.
That's right.
Which, for those of you that haven't seen Nakamura in New Japan, that's, what do they call it? In
The Kinshasa.
Kinshasa. So for those of you not familiar, same thing, but it's somehow, I think, deadlier in New Japan.
Do you guys want to hear some trivia?
Oh, absolutely.
I know where Bomaye comes from.
I don't.
I know where it comes from. Do you want to know?
Yeah, where's the Bomaye come from?
I thought you were going to say, you want to know where it comes from? Me too.
Oh,
that'd be the end of it.
No, I know where it comes from. So in the George Foreman Muhammad Ali, the Rumble in the Jungle, which was held in Africa. So during the match, the crowd kept chanting, Bomaye, Bomaye, which means kill him. Which is why it's called the Kinshasa now in the publicly traded company.
Did know that. I completely forgot. I did know that, and I forgot that I knew that.
Fantastic.
That's why it became
and that's
the
why
Kinshasa.
they changed it. Yep, I remember.
Completely obsessed with that.
Because in international markets, you do not want the chant being kill him.
Shinsuke actually tries 3 times for the Bomaye knee strike, and AJ finds a calf killer, and Shin reverses that into an armbar.
Yep.
Really, I think that was one of the first sequences of the match where I was like, oh.
These guys are next level.
This is what we have.
Oh, that's why this won, the poll as much as it did. That was one of the first sequences where it really woke me up.
I really enjoy one of the first Bomaye misses, and I have written down the Bomaye misses, but the knee lift in the corner does not.
It do not.
It don't.
AJ gets in a torture rack on Shinsuke Nakamura, which just blows my mind.
There's an image.
And,
He's like, you know what? You hurt my back? Fuck yours!
and slides him over for a
Spin out power bomb!
streak.
The streak will never die. It'll never die.
AJ tries for Styles Clash. Shin reverses and shows Bomaye. AJ escapes, and then Shin sets up to the second rope. AJ runs in to try and knock him down, and bam, diving Bomaye. First one he hits in the match, and it is a beauty.
The deadliest Bomaye.
It's good.
I swear, we're going to have to put a Brett's Rope, like, copyright OSW review of these episodes.
Sorry.
Although it's on Wikipedia now, it's become canon.
True. So you're absolutely right, though, that Bomaye off the second rope is just
I thought that was it.
Right, but Nakamura can't get to the cover in time.
Did you hear the impacts of the forearm strikes?
Goodness.
Did I hear the impacts of the forearms? They gave me post-traumatic stress disorder from wrestling J-Rock.
Just incredible stuff. Barrage of strikes from AJ. Shin misses with a huge kick, and AJ gets the Pele kick.
Okay. No, we got to do this entire sequence.
You gonna do it? Okay, do it.
Okay, so.
Okay, I'll get out of frame and y'all just recreate.
Oh no,
Yeah,
not
there we go.
recreating it.
I know how to do an axe kick. You know.
So we had to do it justice.
You just want to show a little leg.
It's not just like one quick shot. It's like forearm, ducks, spin kick, blocks. Another kick comes up, defects. Then that's when we get Shin goes for a Savat kick. AJ spins around, Pele kick. Shinsuke hits the ropes, and it's the fucking Bomaye.
It's beautiful.
They
sequence of the
recreate
match.
this sequence at WrestleMania 34.
Oh, man.
It is not my favorite sequence of the match, but it's second.
It's solid.
It's there.
It's solid.
It's there. We haven't quite gotten to my favorite. But Styles kicks out this time. Nakamura is
out.
able to get to the cover, but it's a kick out from AJ Styles. We get into this position now where Nakamura has Styles up on his shoulders, but Styles is able to reverse that into a crucifix pin.
Love a crucifix pin.
Oh, one of my favorites. We should see it more often. It should win matches.
And then AJ hits a Bomaye of his own.
Yes.
And we're like, oh, this is it. And then he hits a fucking 450.
A 450. Look, this match has everything.
Yeah.
Diving, striking, psychology, submissions. What do you want? You got it at Wrestle Kingdom 10.
After the kick out from Nakamura, there's something that happens there that I love so much. Both men are trying to get back to their feet, and they take a second to put a shot up of the Intercontinental Championship belt. And I just...
To remind you, the audience, what are they fighting for?
It's fantastic
I want
this
production.
belt.
I want it every time.
Yep.
In big matches,
Yeah.
I think that's brilliant.
We don't see enough spinning back fists in wrestling these days, but I really enjoy when a spinning back fist is reversed into a cross arm breaker.
Yes.
Yep.
I was like, oh, here we fucking go.
And Shin, he gets in that arm bar and hooks his leg, sort of, because he's got the arm bar in, and then just sees AJ's leg sort of trying to reach for the rope.
Yep.
So he grabs
Pulls the leg
AJ's
in.
near side leg to make it impossible for AJ to reach the rope. I had never seen that before, and it's so smart.
Mike, that is like I mean, they say ring awareness, but that's ring psychology.
That is smart.
Because the fencer goes, his leg, fuck your leg, pulls it in. And then he's like, I can't quite get this arm bar locked in all the way. I'm going to put you in a fucking triangle hold.
Which was a fatal mistake. Because as we
It was
see,
his humanity.
It was the humanity's fault.
Or was it that worthless respect that he was showing towards his opponent?
AJ stands up and turns that triangle hold into a one-armed
One-armed.
Styles clash.
That was fucking
And
awesome.
that's my favorite sequence of the match.
What?
But he can't get the pin.
It's a 2 count. It's a kick out, and it's worth watching this match just to go see Red Shoes' reaction after this kick out from Nakamura.
It's incredible.
I'd like to think that Red Shoes probably doesn't know what the finish is
I just
based on
love
his
it.
reactions.
I just love
Well,
it.
then we see a Bloody Sunday from AJ Styles.
That's
like,
a brain buster for all you at home.
Was that the finish? Like,
No. If it was Carl Anderson match, yes. Not an AJ Styles match.
So he hits that Bloody Sunday, and then Styles says, okay, Styles Clash didn't finish you off. Maybe I need to do an Avalanche Styles Clash from the top. But Nakamura actually reverses that into what, Paul?
A fucking Michinoku driver!
From the top rope.
An Avalanche Michinoku driver.
The Blue Thunder Bomb! We don't see enough of them, so I have to make this reference.
And a Bomaye to the back of AJ's head should have been enough.
He wanted to make sure.
Shin hits another one.
What's the first rule in Zombieland? Double tap.
And you got to seal the deal. You got to seal the deal. Seals the deal with the second Bomaye knee strike.
And if there's any doubt in your mind that it wasn't over, the second one's like, no.
He did.
You ain't kicking out of that.
He did.
1, 2, 3. Shinsuke Nakamura retains the IWGP Intercontinental Championship. And I have one word. Damn.
Damn.
Are we just bringing back Ron Simmons? Is that
but like,
circle?
just holy shit.
And there's a really, really cool moment after this match where they fist bump in the ring.
Yes. The respect factor.
Yeah. And it's just, to me, this is what New Japan, this is what Wrestle Kingdom is.
Yeah,
and
it really is.
And I just loved it.
So the champion retains. Mm-hmm. So Spenser, I'm really curious to know, how many times has the champion retained in a championship match on our list out of 83 matches?
Oh.
I mean, fantastic match. It doesn't need the story of a challenger overcoming the champion to be great.
Right.
How many times has that happened on our list?
Well,
Data Man.
I would have loved for you to ask me that question before this episode.
Right, yeah.
So that I could have given you an answer.
I legitimately wanted to make you look bad is really my job on this show, Hopefully.
Oh no.
Oh no. I guess it's hard to make the champ look bad.
For those of you listening, I just grabbed my last match standing trivia championship belt because even though I don't know the answer to this question, I will have it for you on episode 84.
So
I will
make sure to stay tuned, and we're going to know on episode 84.
I will let you know. But you son of a bitch set me up for failure. That's a great question.
No,
and I would love to find out.
He just abused your humanity.
That my humanity is ruined. Put that on a T-shirt. Favorite moments.
Well, this match is a highlight reel, so it's really hard to pick one.
It really is.
Yeah, I'll let you think about it.
I really love the Styles Clash being reversed into the into the Michinoku driver on top.
The missed axe kick to a Pele kick to a bomb. I mean, just everything. That segment is everything.
I'm going to say there's an enziguri that Nakamura hits in the first half of this match that I just floored me. I just thought it was just perfect execution. And then in addition to that, it is that triangle into the Styles Clash. It's just
good shit.
Hoo boy.
Such good shit.
Yep.
It's damn good.
We are 83 matches in now. Here we go. Episode 3 of Season 5. We have to rank it?
I'll start.
Okay, Landon's starting. Here we go.
And I'm starting at 59. And 59 is Bret Hart versus the British Bulldog.
Okay.
And the reason I'm drawn to 59 after watching this match is sort of in a similar fashion. It's one of the biggest wrestling shows in that area, right? It's the biggest show that I recall.
You're talking to the largest attendance at a WWE event.
That's what I'm
Wembley
saying.
Stadium.
Like, Wembley Stadium is a huge venue.
Massive arena.
Comparable to the Tokyodome, I would argue. And so an epic encounter for an Intercontinental Championship.
And the main event.
And the crowd was absolutely insane. Well, the Shin and AJ was not the main event.
No, I meant at Wembley Stadium.
But yeah, at Wembley Stadium it was. So that's sort of where my brain starts. I think this one narrowly edges out over that one, but I feel like I could be convinced otherwise. But if I had to maybe continue to climb, my ceiling would be the Toyota Hokuto match at 49.
Ooh, okay.
And it's just an incredible showcase of wrestling ability here, and I just
Okay.
the rewatchability is absolutely through the roof.
Yeah.
It's
So-
hard for me to go over 49.
I'll start at 49, and I'll just say that right above 49 at 48 is Bryan Danielson versus Nigel McGuinness, and that was what was the rule set of that match?
Was it pure rules or was it three
pure,
falls?
No, it was pure rules.
They were unifying, so
Yeah.
I think
It had to have been pure rules then.
Because that was you only had three rope breaks.
Yeah.
And I'm like, little things like that, like you can't go off the top rope, three rope breaks, because like that makes you, because there's a point where somebody gets submission and they immediately like rope break, like you just burned a rope break off of a toe hold.
Mm-hmm.
Are you fucking crazy? Considering cattle mutilation is this man's finish.
It's interesting seeing how that goes into play.
But I really think, I'm also like, no, it's smart. Get that rope break immediately right now.
So you're saying this one went above that match?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that's what's right above your ceiling.
This is the kind of area that we're operating
And then
in
right
now.
underneath that is Randy Orton versus Mick Foley at Backlash. So we have three insanely different matches that we're like going to be in this area around.
And
I'm not really sure I go
sort of
much
where I'm floating.
I don't know if I go much higher than 49 as well. I don't think I go any lower than 59. Definitely not. So when I look at this one, I'm looking at the 50s. We have Bret Hart versus British Bulldog. We have Daniel Bryan, Triple H, Jeff Hardy, The Undertaker, Bret Hart versus Mr. Perfect. Very good match. We have Jushin Thunder Liger versus The Great Muta, Kurt Angle versus Desmond Wolfe, Cactus Jack versus Triple H, and DIY versus The Revival.
At 51, yep.
Yeah, so this match, I definitely would go above all of those.
Okay.
So at the lowest, I'm saying 50, right above Randy Orton, Mick Foley. At the highest, I'm looking. We got my boy D-Bry versus Nigel. We have Kofi Mania 2, which is also versus that boy D-Bry. And then above that is Kurt Angle versus The Undertaker, No Way Out 2006.
See,
So,
I don't know if I can go above all that.
I didn't say I was going. I'm just giving you, this is my window here. We absolutely peak right there at Kurt and Taker. I don't know if I go above Kurt and Taker. And then right above that is Chris Jericho versus Shawn Michaels, the Memorex match. Memorex. Was that the original? Was it Memorex? So that's that match. So, and then right above that is Ric Flair, Mr. Perfect. So it's like, okay, you're hitting a point now where you're seeing technician versus technician. Like Ric Flair, Mr. Perfect, like the two best scientific wrestlers coming in. Kofi Kingston and Daniel Bryan, these two amazing high-flying wrestlers. Above that is Daniel Bryan again. Well, Bryan Danielson, excuse me, and then Nigel McGuinness. These two stalwarts of the mat game. Like these old school wrestlers who were in their early 20s. So it's like you get these two. And then you have Manami Toyota, who might be the greatest wrestler of all time, versus Akira Hokuto, who is arguably the greatest Joshi wrestler of all time. So I have a very difficult time arguing this one to be above that.
Help us out, Spencer.
Okay, here's the drill. I think I'm in the same realm as the two of you. I think where I sit right now is at 44.
44? Okay.
Which is right below Mankind, Undertaker at 43,
Mind
and right above
games.
Flair and Perfect at 44. And let me tell you why, for me, this match goes just a little higher than where you two were. I think this is a top half match.
It is.
Out of 100, I think this is the top half match. I think that this is on the biggest stage.
It is.
You know, we talk about that. We give WrestleManias a lot of credit. I think Wrestle Kingdom is on the same tier, so I think we need to give Wrestle Kingdom credit. It was a semi-main event. You know, the main event that was after this is in the top 10 of our list right now. So big stage. It's a send-off match, whether they knew
really,
it or
really
not.
is.
This is a chapter closing in these two careers of two of the best international superstars to ever do it. It's got name value.
Oh, absolutely.
It's got name value. AJ Styles, Shinsuke
Phenomenal
Nakamura.
one.
It's your
King of Strong Style.
You know, for a guy that comes, this is what you come to wrestling for. It's
Yeah,
this
absolutely.
exact thing. So even though for me, like it may be lacking in story, but it makes up for that in prestige. It makes up for that in and how memorable it is to me.
Yeah, like the story is the only really thing that's lacking. That's till you said that, I'm like, oh yeah, that's kind of the only thing I'm really missing here.
There's not
and
a whole
we're not
lot
saying
of
they don't tell a good one.
there,
they
but
do.
there it is there. But it maybe not as much as what Perfect and Ric Flair were able to pull off on Monday Night Raw. So yeah, I think that one's really, really close for me.
Yeah, I think ultimately if it comes down to me comparing Flair and Perfect versus Nakamura, like one-on-one, heading these two up.
There's no commercial breaks during this match.
I mean, legitimately, this is I think this is rewatchable just a little more than Flair and Perfect. Obviously, Flair and Perfect has story out of the wazoo.
Oh,
right?
Yeah. It's like a 2-year build.
But, I don't know. For me, this one edges out based off of,
I agree with that.
This is a match when people talk about the best matches in the history of Wrestle Kingdom. This is going to be one on their
this
list.
is going to be on the short list.
I agree.
This is top 5 Wrestle Kingdom matches.
Yeah.
Hands down.
And if you ask people what's their top 5, top 10 Monday Night Raw matches, I think some people would say Flair Perfect, but I think
Flair
everyone
Perfect
would.
is probably number 10.
Maybe.
But that's the first, prestige, oh, my God, you got to watch this because it's only third episode of Raw.
Right.
Before that, we had almost nothing but squashes.
Right. It depends on who you ask.
I'm agreeing with a lot of things you're saying. It's still difficult for me to get past the wrestling showcase that was Toyota and Hokuto. So maybe for me, Toyota and Hokuto is just ranked too low.
That's a good conversation
but it's
to have.
still tough for me to go past 49, just on my personal list. But if I'm if I'm outvoted,
is it because
outvoted.
it's 49 or is it because it's Toyota and Hokuto? Because that's the same problem I was having. That's why I wanted to kind of look at the 40s looked like. We may need to reevaluate Manami Toyota and
Well, we can't do that right now.
I know. That's the question I want to
But that's where I'm hung up.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
We were both getting hung up there.
I think this is if I'm looking at the stuff that's in between where I'm at and where you're at, right? Where that's in between 50 and 43 or 44 rather. I think this is a better match than Kingston Bryan at WrestleMania. I think this is a better match than Danielson McGuinness. It's a different match.
Yeah, very different.
It's
very,
a
very
different match.
Yeah, it is.
I think that Kurt Angle Undertaker is actually a really great one to compare to because that one had no runway. That was a match that was a bridge to get us from the Rumble to WrestleMania. It was a one-off, and they tore the house down.
Yeah, it was a one-off because Kurt didn't want to break the streak.
Right.
But part of me is can you imagine if they had that match at WrestleMania?
But it's similar in terms of two of the best names to ever do it.
Sure.
Yeah. Just like Toyota and Hokuto, two of the best to ever do it.
Oh yeah.
So this is a tough spot.
That's why when I mentioned Manami Toyota's name, she is arguably the greatest wrestler of all time. I say wrestler, not like women, not Joshi.
Oh no, she's absolutely fantastic. Just born to do what she does.
I put her in the same breath as Kurt Angle, and I think Kurt Angle is the greatest wrestler of all time.
So is there a compromise here?
Well, there has to be. We can't rank it in two different spots.
Well, no, what I'm saying is if you two guys are going to outvote me, that's fine. There's 3 of us.
I slide on the side of Spenser here, around 44, but we need to revisit maybe Akira Hokuto and Manami Toyota is rated too low. We have to revisit that when we get to. Can I suggest we do a mid-season where we look at matches like this because we're like,
it's possible.
I mean, I don't want to be like, all right, final episode, and now we're going to do a thing where we change a bunch of rankings.
Well, I think it depends on what the listeners want.
Yeah.
To me, if you guys think that there are glaring moments on our list, in terms of numbers 1 through 83 at this point that you think need some extra time.
Because we had a lot of things change at this past season finale.
Then we can talk about that stuff. I don't know necessarily that our listeners are going to say that, man, we've really been clamoring for y'all to push up Toyota and Hokuto. And that may be just because they haven't seen it. I don't know.
That's possible.
We talk about, the stage that something is on playing that much big of a factor. So
well, I mean, AJW Destiny,
if I'm going to
their big
concede,
show,
that would
too.
be why I think I would concede. So if 44 makes the most sense.
But I mean, that's still you're saying that could be the reason you concede to Toyota and Hokuto, but that's another 5 steps up to where I'm at. So I don't need it to be exactly where I said I wanted it.
Yeah, no, I think I can understand the Kofi Mania jump. I can understand the ROH Unified jump. I get hung up again at 46.
Kurt
with
Angle
Kurt Angle and the
Undertaker. I was just gonna say that's the only real hurdle for me.
Okay, so what about 47? What about 47? We put it under Kurt Angle and The Undertaker from No Way Out 2006.
Under Angle Taker?
And
'Cause
above
I would be
Kofi
more
Mania.
comfortable right there.
Between Angle Taker and Kofi Mania? That sounded better in my head.
But what a trio of matches those three are.
Under
Holy cow.
Angle
I mean, this is a comfortable spot on the list of greatest matches of all time.
Yeah, okay.
It'll be a great undertaking to be in this angle.
Oh God,
because it's by Kofi Mania. I'm trying to
Paul,
find.
I like your style.
I was also in my brain like.
Well, I am the king
I could use
of
some more
puns.
of that. I could use some more of that style.
Number 46, ladies and gentlemen.
You're all like,
No, it's 47. It's
Number 47, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to cut that.
No, we're not. It's 47.
Stop making me look bad at
You want to
editing.
tell him how high WrestleMania 21 ranked on Last Mania Standing?
yeah, go ahead. Why not?
Don't do 47.
You're
AJ
just going to
Styles.
beep it out.
I am. AJ
You know,
Styles
I
versus...
should just say a random number and you beep it anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
WrestleMania 21 is...
I hate you.
I can't believe you told him.
I hate you. This is going to be an 8-hour edit. I hate all of you.
Well, if it was all about the numbers, there'd be over 44 big shows.
I give up.
AJ Styles.
quit.
Landon's out of here. AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura is, as of now, the 47th greatest wrestling match of all time. Until episode 84. I'm Spencer.
I'm Paul, and hopefully Landon comes back because we need him.
And this is
Last Match Standing.
Landon.